What do you think of when you hear the word rodeo? Do you think of the Wild West? Do you think of cowboys and cowgirls riding bulls, broncs, and horses? Or do you think of an event, an experience, planned long in advance and put on using the manpower of a small town? Rodeo has been a large part of communities for centuries. The event dates back to the early 1800s, and were initially informal events that took place in the western United States and northern Mexico. It was a classic test between cowboys and Mexican vaqueros who competed using their skills from work of herding cattle and other livestock. Over time, the event gained popularity, becoming a large event once a year in small ranching communities that attracted locals to watch cowboys compete. In the 1900s, rodeo gained increasing popularity outside of these smaller communities, and since then have sparked internationally known rodeo events in the United States, like the Cheyenne Frontier Days and the Pendleton Roundup here in Oregon. Today's version of rodeo is one of the most popular summer sports in the United States. Aside from the most popular rodeo events, bull riding, most rodeos also include barrel racing, breakaway roping, tie-down roping, team roping, and bronc riding. And while big names like the Cheyenne Frontier Days and the National Finals Rodeo often take center stage, in a small town in Central Oregon, however, a bigger stage is being set. To the average passerby, the town of Lapine, Oregon is just another dot on the map of a major highway and has supported logging as a major industry for decades. Only recently, in 2006, was Lapine incorporated as a city with around 17,000 people occupying the area in and around the city limits, and takes the title for youngest city in Oregon. Aside from the lush forests, beautiful mountain peaks, and many surrounding lakes, Lapine does not really have too much to offer. While it may seem like a dead town, Lapine is one of the fastest growing cities in the US, and has one of the fastest growing events to boot.
The inspiration was the local boys that are not after fame and glory. Here we go, Austin Russell, yeah!
Whoa! For over 30 years, the Lapine Rodeo has brought that small country community feel to Lapine, and since 2002 has put on professionally sanctioned rodeos on the 4th of July weekend with a dedicated volunteer board of directors. Over the past decade since then, the rodeo has seen a large growth in attendance in both viewership and the number of contestants. The wording alone of a weekend celebration of America attracts thousands of attendees, and while nowhere near the attendance of larger rodeos, has come to be known as the greatest little rodeo in Oregon.
Oh, and I mean, how many people have a Greenwood here on the 4th of July, huh?
But of course, that brings us back to the original question. What does it really take to put on an event like this? Well, the simple answer would be hard work, time, and a lot of hands. It really isn't just that simple. For example, in the footage you see here, the event is saddle bronc riding. Simple enough, right? Normally, you would not be able to see this view from the stands, but the perspective gives a very good idea as to how many people it actually takes just to get one single rider out of a chute. At the gate, you have two men. One shoves open the latch, and the other uses a rope to pull the gate open from a safe distance. Two or three people usually help the cowboys onto their mounts and help them prepare for their ride, as you see here. Next, once the rough stock animal is out and the ride is over, two pickup men on horseback herd or wrangle the animal to an outgate manned by someone else. However, as previously mentioned, it isn't just about the manpower, although it does play a very large role in the gears that power this event. Current Pine Rodeo Association President Melvin Emert says that it is a 12-month challenge with many advanced factors.
Well, there's a lot of moving parts to putting this on. When I got on the board, if I had known then what I know now, I'm not sure I would have gotten involved. This is a 12-month project every year, so there's a lot of things that have to, parts and pieces that have to go into putting this on. It's not just, oh, we're going to do a rodeo. We have to find the money to put on the rodeo, pay for the stock, do all this kind of stuff, and we pick projects every year that we're going to use to improve things. So it's a challenge in that you're working with volunteers, so trying to make sure that we don't take on too much every year and get in over our heads, and work within our budgets that we have. And so it can be a challenge at times, but in general, we have a good board and everybody works together and we get it done.
So, once the volunteer force, projects, and money has come together and been completed and collected respectively, what comes next? Well, one might think that all that comes next is putting on the rodeo and the concert itself, and while that may in part be correct, yet again is not quite the full finished picture. Indeed, there are yet more steps, and as Melvin said, it is almost a full 12-month job with very little rest. For what goes on between the rodeos, here's a quick roundup of the things that happens other than improvement projects. Meetings. A lot of meetings. As far as regular scheduled meetings, the board attempts to have at least one every single month of the year. Sometimes there are what they call emergency meetings, where they might discuss time-sensitive subjects like contracts or a sudden change in plans. And when there are not meetings, there are public relation events, such as city chamber breakfasts. And when there is not public relation events, there is yet more work to be done. What perhaps may not surprise is that when there are not proper full board meetings, there are still meetings between the members to talk about, plan, or work to complete projects. And this year, the board has a few major improvement projects planned.
Well, this year we're revamping our roping chutes. We're putting in a brand new roping chute and a lead-up chute, which in itself isn't that big of a thing, but we have to move all the pins behind it where the cattle are staged, the roping cattle are staged to run them into the roping chute. So it's going to be a couple weekend project getting that done. We're adding a beer garden this year, which we've never had before, and we're also going to build a merchandise store where we can keep our merchandise locked up at night and whatnot. So we're also going to be staining the announcer stand and sealing it and making a couple of improvements on that. So we've got a few projects lined up for this year.
But with so many projects comes the risk of not having time to complete them. True to unpredictable Central Oregon weather, a very late winter has hit in the spring, and while it may seem to prove an issue, the Board of Directors has not faltered and is carrying on with what they have simply dubbed workdays.
Well, a workday is where we try to get our board together, volunteers out of the community, volunteers from the membership, to come down and work on the projects that we need done down here. Like this year we've been thinning out a lot of trees. We've had a crew down here several weekends pulling those out and burning brush. We have crews come down that are working on the beer gardens. People try to come down. We try to plan them on Saturdays when everybody's available, but that doesn't always work out. So people come down during their time off during the week or whatever and work on things. But we try to have at least one dedicated work day a month.
But after all the hard work the volunteers put into making this event happen, what exactly is the reward? Well, aside from the feeling of satisfaction when it succeeds and the enjoyment it gives the community, previous Rodeo Board President Candy Yao offers a few words.
Lapine Rodeo is by far the largest event that takes place not only in Lapine, but in South Chutes County and North Klamath. It's gone for years. You know, we just have a little event here, a little event there, but really we didn't have anything that drew people in from all over the state, all over the Northwest, even from all over the country, as in the last couple of years. So Lapine Rodeo is huge, particularly as we get it bigger and better. You know, like I said, bring in bigger names, contestants, you get more people coming, bringing in the concerts, that's drawing from all over the Northwest. I'm pretty proud of that. I'm very proud to say that it has a huge impact, not only on the community, but on the entire county. But, you know, you stop and look at the motel rooms, the restaurants are full all the time, the gas stations are selling out of gas. You know, the grocery stores, it affects everyone in town.
Well, the rodeo itself has a huge impact. It provides entertainment for a few days that we put it on. But the bigger impact it has is the economic factor that's involved. We bring people from all over the Pacific Northwest, not just spectators, but contestants that come into our community and spend money. And the economic impact that brings to our community is huge. Anytime you have a small town, businesses are always looking for new ways to make money. And when the rodeo comes to town, we bring people from all over here, and they stay in the motels, they buy gas, they eat in the restaurants, they buy stuff at the stores, and the community appreciates that out of us. So I'm quite proud of that aspect too. We've grown this thing to where the economic impact for Lapine itself is huge, and it's a good thing for our community.
The economical impact on the community that an event like the Lapine Rodeo has can be astonishing. Like Candy and Melvin said, the travelers that come to see this event help local gas stations, restaurants, motels, and grocery stores. Contestants might even drop into a local feed store if they need food or supplies for their animals. But while the economical impact is definitely a great payout for the amazing effort the volunteers put into this event, to them, what is the greatest thing about it?
When that first bull's running the gate and the gates are clanging and the mud's flying, it's all worth it. It just gets in your blood and it's just so worth it. When you see all those kids running around at the concert dancing and everybody saying, man, thank you so much for bringing this to our community, it's all worth it. It is. Throughout the year you question yourself, but you know, in the end, when you're doing something good, it makes it all worth it.
The greatest part about it is indeed seeing the end result. For now, however, it'll be business as usual. The year-round preparations will continue up until the first artist hits the concert stage, and until the first bull leaves the chute.
Baddest bulls on the planet called Batman. Here we go. Say hi to Evan Houston. Mom and Dad. Right there. How about that? Happy 4th of July. It don't get no better than that. Oh, that vicious bull.